Welcome back to another episode of On the Hot Seat. I am joined by Mike Matalavage, one of my good friends for, what has it been? Like 15, 16 years?
We're old.
Yeah. We're here talking some Jets football, gangrene. They got a new head coach. There's a lot of question marks. Do they go after Deshaun Watson? But all in all, a lot of excited things to talk about, a lot of exciting months ahead, possibly this offseason. What is Joe Douglas going to do? What's the draft going to look like? Will they be trading some of these picks? Who knows? Mike, what was your first reaction when they got the hire, when they hired Rob?
I was over the moon excited. I couldn't believe they let him walk out of the building, 2 days or a day before they signed him. He was my number one guy coming into free agency, coming into this coaching hire. I've been lucky enough to watch the 49ers for the last 3 years very closely. Family members are, 49er faithful. So, just everything I've seen from him for the last 3 years, the adaptability, the flexibility, the commitment to his players and getting the best out of them, the energy on the sideline, everything that we wanted that we didn't get from Adam Gase, this candidate showed. And I didn't feel like he was getting enough credit because he was defensive-minded. But when you come from a Shanahan system, you bring some traits with you and you bring some people with you like we've seen. So from the moment that they signed him, put pen to paper, I was just so overjoyed.
I totally agree. It's funny, and I don't even think we got that from Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. It was kind of a head scratcher in the sense of, why would they go defensive for their head coach just because the offense has been so putrid over the last few seasons, and at some point there was going to be the decision of, were you going to keep Sam? Maybe they do. Do they keep Sam, or are they going to draft Fields at the number 2? But at some point it was like, we need an offensive mind to fix our offense or help bring in a new young kid with the number 2 pick. But the biggest reason for me is why I didn't think that, when I heard about the hire, I was totally shocked. I wasn't even like, oh, this is great. I was just kind of like, interesting, because didn't think he was going to be even considered for the Jets. We were talking before, all signs, and I guess the fairy tale story would have been to go to the Lions. That's where he's from Michigan, went to school in Eastern Michigan, coached at Michigan State. Like that, it just seemed like a perfect, full circle kind of moment for him to coach a team that he was rooting for his entire life. But I think he's a perfect personality for New York. He's already stated in, when he signed the contract, yes, I think it was yesterday or 2 days, might have been yesterday or 2 days ago, but he's just kind of like, I know the expectations are high, and in the sense he was like, give me some time, obviously, but he's like, we're gonna create a new culture for the New York Jets.
Yeah, and I think that was the main thing for the Jets, is that last time we were looking for a coach to replace Todd Bowles, our defense was there, our special teams were there, our offense wasn't there. We had a young quarterback we needed to grow. We brought in someone who we thought could fix that, and they actually took us back 4 steps. So now, instead of looking to fix one aspect, we need to fix the whole entire organization. So, I mean, our thoughts definitely should have shifted. I'm glad they did, and I'm so happy that they brought him in. I don't see how their commitment to long-term success doesn't pay off. Everything I've seen from the 49ers rebuild to everything he said to what we've seen from Joe Douglas, aside from the 1 draft pick from James Morgan, he's earned that trust. So I think we give him that time to build and make the right moves.
No, I totally agree. And it kind of, not so much in, it seems like he has a pretty, the personality is there. He shows emotion. This is almost reminding me a lot to the Rex Ryan hire, in the sense of, you knew Rex, and obviously we know Rob. We know what they've done on the defensive side of the ball, but also Rex was able to bring in guys from ball. Like he brought in Bart Scott, like he brought in oh my gosh, what's his name? One of the safeties, the short safety, the strong safety, but the really short right guy.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, he brought in like 3 to 4 of Baltimore's starting, defense. So I mean, I think Rob has a chance to bring some guys in. I know he's on the latter half of his career, but for veteran leadership, for a kind of a captain on the defensive end of the ball, I think signs are pointing to at least Richard Sherman being on the New York Jets next year. He's only talked to the highest standard about Rob Saleh. That's it.
I think that's a trend you see with every player that has come or has interacted with Saleh in some way throughout. I mean, he was with the Texans for a while. Everyone there raves about him. From the colleges he's been to, the pros, the 49ers. I think that, like you say, because of these relationships, he has an incredible chance to bring players with him. Now, we don't know what's going on with the Texans right now.
Yeah.
They could be selling off. We could be looking at defensive backs, linebackers from there that we might be able to pick up. I don't think J.J. Watt's somebody I would look for, but I think there's other very solid players on that defense we should go after. And just having someone that's so respected, even through other coaches, GMs, it makes business easier.
Right.
Just people want to work with us.
And it's hard because, we're Mets fans, we're Jets fans. We finally saw the Wilpons out. I feel like another reason why I couldn't believe they got Rob is that, who really wants to be in charge of a team with you got Christopher and Woody Johnson? Terrible ownership. And we're Knicks fans. Terrible owner. We've only known terrible ownership for our entire sports fandom lives, and that was another. I was just shocked. 'Cause it's we're not gonna get anyone good because it's the Johnsons. They're not gonna get anyone good, but because they have a CEO type in Rob Saleh, I think they're gonna allow him to just kind of be like, hey, this is and same with Joe. When they hired Joe Douglas, it was a big move for them. Yeah. They're gonna allow Joe and Rob to do the personnel, to just put the product on the field and allow them to thrive. And that meant Rob Saleh bringing in his guys. He brings in Mike LaFleur, and he's going to become the offensive coordinator. They're bringing in the O-line coach from
Benton.
Yeah, Benton. They're bringing him as another piece. He's bringing in his own staff, his own guys, and it looks, the names, look good, and it's guys that he's been with the past 3-4 years. I wonder who the DC coordinator is. I think a handful of they've been tossing out Chris Richard, the former Cowboys the assistant head coach.
I know Aaron Glenn is also a name I've been seeing. He's been weighing his options. It was reported he was going to the Lions, and then I think that kind of switched up where he's still weighing a few different teams.
Because Dan Campbell went to the Lions as the head coach of Saints, one of the Saints assistant coaches. Because I remember Richard was on the chance a few years ago as being a head coach. So if you bring him as DC, I think it'd be great. Another thing I'm wondering: do you think Rob is going to end up calling the defensive plays? Possibly. That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if he still is going to have the reins of the defense, or obviously.
I could see it going either way because he definitely talks about how. If you look at I believe it was the quarterback scouting thing.
Dude, I was just about to mention that. 10. That is the best 7 minutes of coaching.
It's just incredible. He talks about how he needs to be in charge of all three levels of the field, and you can't just rely. I don't think he'll call the plays.
Right.
He might enjoy it and he might try and do it, but I think he's going to be so focused on getting the best out of all three phases that maybe doing the actual play calling might be too much for him. Right. Now, he'd probably be in charge of the game planning, but now calling each and every play, unless things start to go real bad, I don't think you're going to see.
Yeah. And he made so many great points, just being, just the awareness of I know what I'm great at. I have to know what I'm not great at. And that's why I assemble this coaching staff, because I know that these guys can fill everything that I can't bring. I know that they have something I don't have that's going to make it complete. So when he said he's you're only as good and complete as the people around you as your coaching staff, it's just that's the CEO. That's who we're talking about. As it's not. It takes all of us in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely, and just I think also the fact that he's smart. He went after the offensive side first. If we were sitting here and he had a fully completed defensive staff, we'd be worried about who he bringing in offensively because he's a defensive-minded coach. So the first thing he does is he goes, "Oh, I'm bringing in Mike LaFleur. I'm bringing in these offensive guys." So the fan base knows, the general manager knows that side is taken care of. We can now evaluate that side. And now because he's a defensive-minded coach, we trust him to fill in the other side. There's no rush. We're not worried about it. So I think he's already showing that intellect in just the way he's going about his business.
And I think it's another good sign. It's like LaFleur, you're bringing in a guy that's been Shanahan's kind of like a right-hand guy, or at least, close to him for the last 2-3 seasons, The Niners are a few seasons past the Super Bowl. We're getting coaches that have reached the big game, that have gotten a group of guys to where we want the Jets to get. So, as of right now, I have a lot of trust in Rob Saleh. I have a lot of trust in Joe Douglas. And, I mean, we're going to see, we're talking about it next, but Deshaun Watson, ? Who knows?
Ooh, I have a lot of thoughts on Deshaun Watson.
Welcome back to the hot seat here with Mike Matalavage. I just want to throw it out there. If you want to follow him, subscribe to him on YouTube. It's just your name, right? Mike Matalavage.
Mike Matalavage. Matalavage.
Not an A.
Not
Lots
an
of
A.
A's,
Yeah,
but the last one's an E.
We changed the last one. It's fine.
Mike is also throwing out sports content on YouTube. You're putting out anything Jets, Mets, a lot of New York sports related stuff, right?
Yeah, Jets, Mets has been the focus so far. We're gonna start doing a bit more Knicks if they continue to impress the way they have been. But just kind of anything that comes into my fandom heart, and then I'll probably do a few deep dives throughout the year.
Beautiful. And we're hoping to have Mike on the Take Sports podcast down the line, maybe even as soon as next week, to do a weekly episode with us as, more of our teams get news. We'll see, another week closer to the MLB season and all that good stuff. But Deshaun Watson to the Jets has been a very interesting, sentiment on social media, thinking there's no shot. I mean, why would Deshaun Watson be a name that the Jets would even be close to be looking at? And then you kind of look at what the Jets got, and you're like, wait, they have the best shot at getting Deshaun Watson. They have the most to offer to the Texans, especially because Deshaun Watson hates the Texans organization. Their front office ruins talent. Andre Johnson said so. They traded away DeAndre Hopkins. They traded away someone else, this and that. And they literally ruined their players. Does 3 first-rounders sound good to Houston? I don't know.
I mean, does it sound good to Houston, but does the Jets sound good to Deshaun Watson? He does have a no-trade clause, which really puts him in the driver's seat. He can pick and choose exactly where he wants to go. Now, fans are excited because all indications on social media look like he wants to come to the Jets. Videos of him purchasing a car, saying his marketing agent saying they want it in jet green because they want to go jet green. Liking the back page of the Daily News when it's talking about go get him.
He was at the Nets game.
He was at the Nets game. He's been.
I don't know how he got into a Brooklyn Nets game, but he was there.
Yeah, he's been in the area. It's just all signs are pointing that if he's playing us, he's doing an incredible job because he's convinced me that he actually wants to come here.
I think that I'm sure there's people in his head or people in his ear, and even we saw on Instagram Richard Sherman's dude, get out of Houston, go to New York. I think that just hiring Rob Saleh is there just a light bulb is turned on and going if you pair Deshaun and Rob Saleh and Mike LaFleur that offense, you're gonna still have the problems, but they have so much cap space. They have the second most cap space behind the Jags. The Jags are going to have their quarterback at number 1. They're going to bring in Trevor Lawrence. Although, hiring Urban Meyer, maybe they bring in Justin Fields. I have no idea. That's a whole different thing. Who knows what they do with that. But it allows you to trade the number 2 this year, one of your first-rounders in next year's draft that you got from Seattle, and then your 2023. The Jets have 2 first-round picks this year and next year. All right, get rid of... I can't even finish the thought because it's if you trade if Jamal Adams turns into Deshaun Watson essentially, then a lot of Jet fans are going, all right, well, that looks good because we know the Jets when they drafted Jamal and the talent he turned into, like that's what you want from a first round pick. You got Jamal, he turned into the guy you drafted at 6 or 7, whatever it was, at the safety position, and they still couldn't keep on to their homegrown talent. I don't care that they got 2 first rounders and a lot of assets. It's that you drafted the guy. Like you got to pick right, and you still were like, we're not paying you. Now, if it turns into Deshaun Watson, this trade is looking a whole lot different. You turn a safety into a franchise quarterback who is living 25 years old still.
I think that's the thing most people aren't realizing is that he is. I mean, maybe because he plays for the Houston Texans, they're not on the national spotlight that often. I don't think he gets enough credit. I've heard from other fans from organizations that aren't that into going after him. They don't think he's that worth it. I don't think they're giving him enough credit for what he's done down there. He's made them a legitimate contender almost every year on a roster that, quite frankly, has no business competing.
And it's and a roster that truly underperforms every season. Dude, Deshaun had one of the best quarterback seasons this year, like ever. Based on he led the league in passing yards, he was top 10 in touchdowns, but based on yards, QBR, I think total touchdowns, completion percentage, like things like that. Him and like Rodgers, Manning, and like Peyton Manning and Brady were the only other 3 to have a season like that. He had one of the best quarterback seasons, and you wouldn't know because he had 4 fucking wins.
Yeah, it's really upsetting when you see a leader of a franchise like J.J. Watt go up to your quarterback and apologize for wasted a year. I mean, and not even that, it's just the fact that other players want to play with him as well. Allen Robinson has been liking and tagging him in every Jet-related trade from GMFB. He likes them all. He's been tagging them. Hey, Deshaun Watson, what's up? Like, these guys almost are trying
Allen
to...
Robinson in the Jets.
Like, they're trying to all come together. I think that Joe Douglas has shown throughout his time in the league that he's someone that players can trust on the way that he's going to build this team to be competitive. So free agents, all of a sudden, it seems like we are a destination that they want to come to. And I could not be more excited and happy for what the Jets franchise is turning into.
Yeah, I think their offseason is going to solely be based on whether or not they are going to be serious in pursuing Deshaun Watson, because that's got to be the answer by the time you draft, because where else are you spending your money, I guess? Like you said, Allen Robinson. Time to get a number 1 receiver. Like, let's get going.
Yep.
Do the Jets have a running game? Maybe we want to look into drafting a running back in like the 3rd or 4th round, or going out and signing someone or a split backfield. I know he's out. I think he has some in the tank. The Ravens just waived Mark Ingram. Do you want to maybe throw a flyer out on him? Nothing crazy, something, but
I think that the fact that we have the cap space, I mean, even if we trade for Deshaun Watson, we still have $70 million in cap space.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot that we can do with this. The Jets have put themselves in the position to do whatever they want to do. We have the capital. We have the players that are sought after that we could get rid of if we wanted to. I hope they don't. I mean, we have the flexibility. We have the coach everyone wants. We have the GM that's respected throughout the league. We are finally in a position where we get to say what we want to get.
And it's funny you say that with the cap space, is that, all right, like if you bring in Deshaun, you have to bring on his contract, and it's pretty big. But you're fine paying $25 or $30 million for this quarterback. I think a lot of fans and maybe even the Jets organization are skeptical about the next year with Sam, because now he's off his rookie deal and you have to pay him. But what are you paying him, and what is he going to ask for when he hasn't been on the field for the last 3 years? He's going to still want big money, and I ain't paying it.
And I think that's the main issue with how these quarterback contracts have been going. It's that it's no longer a pay based off how you perform. It's the next guy up. Oh, I'm the next franchise QB to be up for a contract, so I got to get the biggest contract. Well, I'm sorry, Jared Goff didn't deserve that massive contract years ago. It was premature because he was the next guy up. If they had paid what they should have paid for him, right now they wouldn't be looking to get rid of him. They would be able to stomach his play. These young quarterbacks just feel like it's next time up. They want to take the most money. I'm not saying Sam will be like that, but most likely he will. And we see it time and time again where 3 years down the road, you just regret it because they don't live up to the contract.
And this is how the NFL has worked for forever, I feel like, is that you use your money on pieces around you when the quarterback is on the rookie deal. Look what the Bills have been able to do with Josh Allen, not signed on his rookie year deal. You brought in one of the best receivers in the league, ended up breaking every Bills receiving record, got a true number one for Josh Allen to throw to. And the entire offense is great. It's a top offense in the league with Diggs, with John Brown, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis, Moss, Singletary in the backfield, and then Dawson Knox at tight end. He's got every weapon he wants.
I mean, and you're talking about QBs on the rookie deal, but you know who else is really expensive to lock up? Defensive tackles and left and offensive tackles, especially blindside. So in 5 years, when Mekhi Becton's off his rookie deal,
and he's gonna want a record-breaking deal, deservingly so as right now. He played a rookie year, and he's already a top 3 left tackle.
And Quinnen Williams is looking like Aaron Donald Jr., like baby version. Hopefully, gonna grow into that more and more. But he's like starting to beat double teams, be able to split those things that we didn't see Leonard Williams be able to do for the 4 years he was here. So he's gonna want.
And of course he does that with the Giants.
Of course, he does that with the Giants. But hey, we got the younger version who's really cheap right now. So in 3 years, he's gonna want a massive contract. So this is the time to strike, pay big money for the big positions while you have really solid young players on rookie deals at other places.
All right, last thing before you go. If they don't get Deshaun, what would you like the course of action at quarterback to be?
I think, I know, I'll start by saying I will trust the coaching staff and the GM no matter what they do. They have earned my patience. Unless they are absolutely in love with one of these two quarterbacks, which I don't think they're going to be, I think they stick with Sam Darnold and either option him for a year or two and hope that, because everyone says that in a Shanahan system, that's where he will thrive the most. So if your coaching staff comes to you and says, I think we can turn this around, I trust them to do that, and I would like to see them do that. Am I a little biased as a fan? Yeah. But if they're absolutely in love with one of these two QBs, I have no issue with them going there and saying we're going to reset the clock and start with one of these guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If they do, I haven't fallen in love with Justin Fields. If some crazy thing happens that Trevor Lawrence is at 2, obviously you got to grab him because that's just yeah. But I would like to see Darnold in a true offense with true pieces to see him succeed and actually be on the field this year. Mikey, just come by. Subscribe to him on YouTube. Mike Matalavage. There's a lot of A's in his name. Follow him. Like him.
He's blowing up.
Subscribe to him.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This has been The Take.